So good to be this close. So with that exciting news, let's get right into it because we're going to talk a lot of football today, Daniel. We know Stanford's season rides on the strong right arm of Davis Mills. In your mind, where does he rank amongst Pac-12 quarterbacks coming into this season? More importantly, where does he need to rank for Stanford to win the five games you predicted, to win the 4 to 6 games in this shortened season? And obviously that would put them among the top contenders in the Pac-12.
It's no shock to anyone here that I like Davis Mills, but I think he's a very, very, very good quarterback. That's not going to come as news to anyone who's been following us on Cardinal Dash. But I have him as the 4th best quarterback in the Pac-12 right now, and here's why. Kedon Slovis in his freshman year looked phenomenal. He had a great freshman year. Next up, I have Chase Garbers, who in 7 games where he played the entire game has not lost last year. That's what we look at in a quarterback. Coaches have win-loss records next to their names, and quarterbacks have win-loss records next to their games. Chase Garbers was 7-0. And then Jaden Daniels over at Arizona State. Another phenomenal season, only 2 picks all of last year. And then we have Davis Mills. Does he have the potential to get up into 1 or 2? Absolutely. And if Stanford does go on to have that 5-1 season that I predicted, then absolutely he will be ranked there. And I'm going to look stupid for putting him at 4 now. I'm fine with that. But right now, based on what he's done in the past, even though he does have that pedigree of being such a high recruit out of high school, he hasn't done enough on the field right now for me to put him anywhere higher than 4. So that's where I have him heading into the season.
Daniel, I'm so excited about this. Finally, I get to be the optimist on this show. I am putting Davis Mills as the 2nd best quarterback in the Pac-12 coming in this season. Now, has he earned that with his play on the field? No, but I think he's going to earn that very quickly this season. And here's my point. Number 1, Kedon Slovis is set. He is the best quarterback in the Pac-12 coming in this season. I think that if the Pac-12 were playing a similar length season to other schools in major conferences, I think he might become a Heisman contender. He is the best quarterback with the best weapons, and I think USC is going to have a record that reflects that, and they will put him in the national conversation. But everybody behind that is very unproven. And the 2 guys you mentioned ahead of Mills are the only 2 guys I think you can reasonably put ahead of him at this point. Maybe if you're a Dorian Thompson-Robinson lover, you could throw him in, but that I think would be a crazy argument. But with Jaden Daniels, it's really all potential. It's really all the Oregon game and a handful of other games where we saw him ball out. And yes, he's very good. I think that if you combine his dual threat ability, that's going to push him around the level of a guy like Davis Mills. But I just love the way Davis Mills throws the football. And that gets to my other point. Chase Garbers wins games, and I'm very impressed with him, and I respect him. I mean, him running in the end zone to win big game was one of the worst moments of my life, but that's the kind of playmaker he is. He's a playmaker. I don't know if he's a great quarterback. Like, can you ever see Chase Garbers on an NFL roster? Absolutely not. I certainly can't. I don't think he is an accurate or strong enough thrower to get to that level. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think that he's a great gamer who gives you a chance to win. But Davis Mills is a player who elevates your entire team. Davis Mills is a player who, at his best, has the arm talent to be a first-round NFL draft pick, something I think you can only say about maybe Slovis, maybe Daniels in this conference. And I think one thing that Davis Mills has at his disposal that Garbers and Daniels do not this season is a fantastic wide receiver core, significantly better than what you have at Cal or Arizona State, and I think significantly better than everywhere outside of USC in this conference. I think we could see maybe Oregon, with all the talent they have in that roster, they step up. But on paper right now, I would say Stanford has the 2nd best quarterback in the conference, the 2nd best wide receiver core in the conference, and I think they're going to accordingly have one of the best offenses in the Pac-12. But I think we're going to get a lot of hate from Cal fans for this one because I know they love their Chase Garbers, and Arizona State fans think Jaden Daniels is taken to the playoffs. So maybe controversial, but I'm standing by it. When you look at his stats, and I want to run through them after I give you a chance to after I shut up and let you jabber. If you look at his stats combined with his clear talent, I think we're going to see a breakout season from him this season.
Yeah, when we talk to the fans, they like hearing me jabber a lot more than they like hearing you jabber. So I'm glad you're giving me the chance because Chase Garbers, in those 7 games I talked about, 265 yards of total offense is what he averaged. Okay, this is a quality quarterback, and I understand that you're going based on potential. That's fine. That's great. Okay, but what we do now, what we do in fact-based world, is we look at what people have already done. And Chase Garbers has already done all these things, right? Davis Mills had a great year last year, went 2-4, right? A lot of things were going wrong around him, and I wouldn't put that record on him entirely, but at the end of the day, 2-4 next to his name as a starter. Okay. Chase Garbers, on the other hand, did a lot better. And same with Jaden Daniels, right? 8-4 as a freshman, 278 targets of total offense, right? 17 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. That's an all-around great season. And we see Davis Mills sitting around 65.6% completion percentage. I think he has the potential. I do. I really do. And I think what they're going to do in this offseason is pare everything down and make a lot of things more simple. The wide receiver core grew up a year. They're probably, as you said, the second most talented group in the Pac-12. But if we're looking based on potential right now, Davis Mills hasn't done enough. But I want to hear. What are you going to tell me?
You bring up that Chase Garbers had 265 yards per game of offense, and what was a very successful 2019 season for him. In Davis Mills' 6 starts, he was averaging 308 yards per game just passing. And yes, he is not a dual threat guy like Garbers, but his production level is significantly higher, and he was doing that with a terrible defense, a defense that ranked 87th nationally in total defense, whereas Cal had one of, if not the best defense in the Pac-12, maybe probably just behind Oregon and maybe a couple others. So Davis Mills, when he was thrust out there, was at a time when Stanford was beat up, when the wide receiving core even was not necessarily as strong as it's going to be this season, and he was still able to put up numbers based on arm talent alone. And I think based on time in the system, he's learned it. They don't really have to simplify it for him. We're hoping they open up the offense, but I don't think what they need to do is simplify. Davis Mills has the football IQ to be able to run a complicated offense. Like I said, Chase Garbers, I have the utmost respect for him. But he is a guy who could not survive as a quarterback in the Pac-12 if it weren't for his legs. And he's no Michael Vick on the run, but he's definitely a dynamic dual threat guy. Davis Mills doesn't have to be a dual threat guy to be good because he's just that talented of a passer. I just want to run through the passing yards numbers from his last 5 games last season. 245 against OSU, but he did complete 72% of his passes through 3 touchdowns in that game. 293 against Washington in Stanford's biggest win of the season. He completed 70% in that game. 504 against Wazoo. We know that that was in a losing effort, but he completed 2/3 of his passes too, 66%. And then 290 versus Cal, 74% completions. If not for the 2 picks in that game, I think we're looking at as a very good big game passing performance. And 276 versus Notre Dame with 61% completions in the rain. That was terrible conditions for throwing the football. If he had not had that 11 touchdown to 5 interception ratio, which I think is fine for a college quarterback, but not really what you're looking for from an elite college quarterback, I think we would look at his stats and say there's a lot of value on this guy as potentially the top quarterback in the Pac-12 because he's shown those flashes. So if Davis Mills really is the second best quarterback in the Pac-12, or if, as you say, he's the 4th best quarterback in the Pac-12, what does that mean for Stanford? What are they capable of doing in that scenario?
And I think to be the best, as we're talking about, and to have that 5-1 record that I predict, we're going to start to see Davis a little bit more as a dual threat guy, right? In his high school senior year, had about 400 yards rushing, okay? Somewhere around there. And I've also talked to his quarterbacks coach, who he continues to work with. He says no one throws a more catchable ball, right? So there's so much to like here, and I see exactly why you want to put him in that top tier. There is that much to like, and if Stanford is going to have that successful season, it's going to have to be both things. He's going to need to up that completion percentage. He's going to have to use his wide receivers because there's a great core there to build around. And then he's also going to have to do a bit more on the ground because I think he's capable of it, and he's capable of doing it smart and in the system where he's not getting himself hurt. But he has to do all 3 of those things in order to take it to the next level, to reach the talents that I think both you and I would say he can reach at being the top guy in the Pac-12.
I just think this is a really good year to be a Pac-12 quarterback and to be an emerging Pac-12 quarterback like Davis Mills. Because outside of Keaton Slovis, I think everybody's basically an unknown. Chase Garbers is a known winner. Give him credit for that. Jaden Daniels has a lot of potential in a similar vein to Davis Mills, but I just see Mills rising to the cream of the crop. And I think that you're right. Garbers is maybe the best comparison for Davis Mills in terms of a measuring stick. If Davis Mills is better than Chase Garbers this season, throughout the season, I think Stanford will be a better team than Cal. I think it really will come down to quarterback play in that matchup. And I think if Mills is that good, Stanford should go 4-2 or 5-1, which would be even better than what I predicted at 3-3. But as we've said over and over again,